about a new drafting tool that I have personally not used yet. I'm also excited about things working, and I'm excited about Barks. Man, their cheerleader has arrived. I am hype.
Charlie thinking that Rhaegar might be the pick here.
He might just. Now, we saw Zeratul getting hovered there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Zeratul is getting hovered again, and Zeratul is taking the ban. Interesting.
So I'll go ahead and repeat what I said last time. With Zeratul being the ban here, that is either a targeted ban with some homework done by Bark about BlizzPro, or it's an indication that Bark does not like playing against Zeratul, maybe not knowing exactly how to counter him. BlizzPro is forced into banning Li Ming here, of course, because fun is dead and no one is allowed to watch Li Ming play. Meanwhile, Bark is going to predictably pick up Rhaegar, much to the delight of Lord Huggington III.
I do want to actually say something that is pretty neat on the part of Bark there. That was actually a strategy by banning out Zeratul there. By banning out Zeratul and knowing that there's two OP characters in the meta, that means that BlizzPro has to ban one of them and they have to give the other up to Bark. They have no choice.
Indeed, and with BlizzPro picking up Zagara here, we're seeing that common Zagara Kael'thas pick up. Zagara is going to be able to get that wonderful vision that has been oh so important in the game so far this evening. In addition, Kael'thas is still a great mage. You know, there are people that are going to argue that Jaina is the better mage pick, and to be honest, I'm one of them at this point in the game, but Kael'thas still showing the power of that chain bomb in that last game.
Absolutely. Hovering over, gonna see if we're gonna see a very wizardy start to this game, and we are. We have three ranged heroes picked. Four, I guess, if you can consider Zagara more of a assassin than a pure specialist. Good picks out of both sides, I do have to say. I think Bark getting that Rhaegar with that little nice trick that they pulled there is a good move, certainly. But kind of curious to see what's gonna happen.
We see another Uther ban here, which again is kind of an indirect ban on ETC as well. Last time Uther was banned, ETC was basically taken off the table. Very few people willing to take ETC in without an Uther unless they're choosing to go with an alternate, or they just have really good faith in the picks that they grab. BlizzPro is going to be choosing into this. It wouldn't surprise me to see another Thrall. Thrall or Sonya has made an appearance as a frontline assassin in every game thus far, in the last two at least. And I think that these are really good picks for them. BlizzPro probably going to pick up, I'd say, more than likely their tank and a frontline assassin here, maybe choosing to take their support last.
Absolutely. You know, I'm kind of interested to see how this is another one of those drafts where we're seeing some strategy play out, but for the most part, we have a really opened up game here. We have a very open game here as far as what could be drafted, what both teams might like to play. If there's going to be any kind of sneak plays, Bark don't really have to pick. Ooh, Shen is going to come out from BlizzPro, and now my hype level is back to where it was from the last game.
I am actually on Cloud9 right now. Not the team. Not the team. I'm on Cloud9 in a very literal sense. I could not be more excited. Straz has insider knowledge that I am a huge fan of Chen, and I cannot wait to see what kind of plays they pull off here. BlizzPro going for a very strong front line. Interested to see who they choose as their last, but Bark does indeed pick up Thrall here, as well as Diablo.
Two solid picks here. The Diablo is going to be a great tank. They do have a decent bit of follow-up, and they also have, the combo with Jaina. Don't really have much in the way of a stun follow-up, which is okay. I guess Thrall counts too, even though more of a root than anything else. We're going to see Morales here as the final pick, along with this Joanna. Man, they are really hoping that Kael'thas is going to be able to deal a ton of damage. Zagara deals some damage, Chen deals some damage.
I like BlizzPro's approach here, because what they've actually done is tried to make more or less the unkillable frontline. Like, Joanna is already considered one of the strongest tanks as far as survivability. Chen, though he doesn't have the survivability that he once had, is certainly still considered one of the hardest folks to take down, especially when you consider that when it comes to stuns here, what do they have? Diablo with the Shadow Charge, Thrall with an ultimate, and Falstad with an ultimate. That's pretty much it. As far as basic attacks go, at least into the later levels of the game, that Chen is going to be able to drink himself silly, and by the end of this game, it may be time to have an intervention.
We're gonna see a very standard team comp here out of Bark and like the Live Lords out of BlizzPro. Just man, Morales combined with Chen is that's gotta be a combo that makes you pull your hair out, especially combined with Joanna. They're just gonna basically be dancing around in a circle with Morales, just like shooting laser beams at them, and they're just gonna just live forever. Is what's gonna happen.
How do you even get to that back line? As Bark, like you want to be able to get to that Morales, to get to that Kael'thas, to get to that Zagara, but with Joanna and Chen both having incredible peels, especially after 16 when Chen gets pressure point, and now that they've fixed his kick so it always allows for body blocks, it is going to be so difficult to get to that back line. Bark is going to have to take an early game advantage, and they're going to have to take it hard so that they can ride on that, as BlizzPro is going to be very difficult to take down.
They are. They are going to be almost impossible, really. It's going to really require Bark to kind of dive to that backline somehow. At the same time, BlizzPro is. It reminds me once again of Burning Crusade. They're playing like the Druid Warlock comp in twos, where they're not going to do a lot of damage, but they sure as hell are going to make you frustrated.
So they may not have fun, but no one else is going to have fun either, is what you're saying. But no, how can you not have fun with that lovable fat Uncle Chen? I really am so excited to watch him play, and I'm not going to have to wait long as we are getting into the game. And over on the left side, we do have Bark with McMuffin on Falstad, Dark X Mark on Diablo, Sench on Jaina, Artemis Howl on Rhaegar, the dog, and Equinox on Thrall.
Rhaegar the dog indeed, and Chen the bear, played by Zexorus. Then we have Flame Egg on Kael'thas, Aya on Zagara, Digitality on Joanna, and Balrog Fan on Morales.
I cannot wait to watch this game. If it's one half as entertaining as the game we just watched, we are in for a treat. Both of these teams hungry. Both of them want to move up the ladder here in Chair League. And no matter who loses, we win, because this is going to be a great game.
Gonna see some action in the middle as Joanna is going to push up. Looks like Equinox on Thrall taking a bunch of damage. Once again, though, that front line of both both Joanna and Chen just preventing them from getting in there, though they both are taking a lot of damage. Diablo is going to go down there. Exactly kind of what we said happened, or was going to happen, did happen there. They desperately wanted to dive past Chen and dive past Joanna to get to Zagara, to get to the just nougaty goodness of Kael'thas' soft body, but they just couldn't make it there, and unfortunately they were kind of just slamming their face into a brick wall of Chen.
You're not wrong. Like, Chen is so strong, and when you combine Regen Master with Brewmaster's balance, he doesn't even necessarily need a healer when he's one-on-oneing. He also has such good escape from that level 7 Brewmaster's balance, and I know Blizzard has said that they're looking at Chen and thinking about what other heroes need baseline abilities taken from talents such as Rhaegar's bite ability. And if Chen manages to get Brewmaster's balance, he will instantly become a top-tier hero, in my opinion, as will be on display this game. I like the 3-man rotation up here at the top. Equinox has proven to be someone who is going to come away from the support of his gate, and it looks like they're waiting for him to come out a little bit more. The big bait from Joanna here does manage to pull him out. Chen gets some great damage out. It looks like Bark knew exactly what was happening and managed to rotate up, saving him, but that is going to be quite the engagement up top.
The longer this engagement goes on, it's worth mentioning that Zagara is down bottom and was doing a decent job of bullying this Falstad, though is going to back off now to take this vision here, and is going to enter the lane just in time to pick up some soak.
Indeed, and as we approach the 2-minute 10-second mark, this is when you should be taking the mercs. It looks like Bark is familiar with that strategy, and they're going to be getting it. As they finish up these mercs right around the 2:25 mark, we should be hearing the Raven Lord call for the first curse here any second. In the meantime, they are going to be the sole pushers, as it does not look like BlizzPro is interested in that merc play.
It does not look like that is the case. Instead, they're kind of lingering around in these lanes, trying to bully and soak as much experience as they can. You can see Medic has actually rotated with Zagara here, making sure that they don't lose any experience. And here comes the tribute spawning up top on the side of BlizzPro. Going to be interesting how this pulls out.
It looks like BlizzPro has a definitive advantage here. They're going to get to this tribute much more in advance. Falstad can fly up, but he's just trying to buy time for his team right now. Very good zoning here by BlizzPro, completely encapsulating this, but it does look like Bark is going to take this engagement. Huge gravity lapse here onto Artemis Howl, and he is melted.
Yep, send him to the rip box. Equinox has to be careful as well. Chen is dropping here, but Morales is going to be able to keep them up. Diablo drops, Jaina drops, Equinox still wanting to play. Falstad coming in, deciding he wants some of that too. Falstad lights that bird on fire and is going to get some Kentucky Fried Chicken, but no, there he goes. He's going to make it away. Equinox, on the other hand, is going to drop right there. And believe it or not, that giant push didn't do a whole lot. Did get some damage on that tower, but not a whole lot of value out of there. And BlizzPro is going to pull away here with the tribute and a little bit of a level lead.
I'm really impressed with the play there from BlizzPro. They took that engagement very strong. They do have an earlier game advantage here as far as the positioning when that tribute spawned, and they took full advantage of it. Because they were so late on the rotation, I think Bark might have been better off soaking, since everyone from BlizzPro went for that first tribute, especially because they were so far behind, but that was not the choice they ended up making.
Almost was a gank on Zagara in mid. They weren't able to pull it off. The Bark getting a little close to Zagara's booty there, but she was able to just quickly slither away. It does look like we're going to have some continued action in mid. Up top, you can see Thrall and Joanna just dancing, though that probably is just going to be a stalemate for a while. At the bottom, Zagara has returned, taking control of that lane. Just seeing some very standard play right now, just very safe stuff. Just waiting for that next tribute.
Does indeed, and the second tribute is going to spawn at the bottom over here. It does look like Zagara is going to be the first one there. She is in the bush. Rhaegar all by his lonesome here. He is going to start to wolf form out. A lot of damage coming onto him. He is forced back to get a drink. Meanwhile, the rest of his team is coming down this bottleneck here. It looks like Sanch is going to be able to interrupt that indeed. Here comes Chen, everyone's favorite drunkard, doing everything he can to put on some pressure here. Sanch taking a fair amount of damage himself. It looks like Bark is trying to decide the best place to engage here, coming from behind as well. Directly onto the medic. Good gravity lap, saving her temporarily, but it is not enough. Super good flank here from Bark, but it is also going to cost Thrall his life.
And it's going to cost Zagara hers and Falstad as they go down. Diablo is probably the next to fall, as yes, he's going to get sucked up by that conviction. Kel'Thas is just going to make it here. It is the butt bite. Yes, the butt bite gets him and sends him to the rip box. But now Artemis Howl on this Rhaegar is going to get chased down as Chen finishes off Jaina at the bottom there. This is going to be BlizzPro's tribute. And it probably is going to secure themselves, or allow them to secure 10 in a hot second, though. That Wolf needs to get out of there, but Doggy keeps wanting to get that Joanna, but here comes Chen. Oh no, Artemis Howl, what's going on? You're going down. You're sent to the great beyond. Oh.
I'm really impressed with the Chen play here. He is capitalizing on the gap closing that he has given with that flying kick, and he is making sure that anytime someone's out of position, they are eating it. Equinox taking a ton of damage here. He is slowed as well. Zexrus using that kick and the body blocking to make sure he goes down. Followed up with the quick flame strike. That's another pick, and that is a very quick 10 for BlizzPro.
Down at the bottom, I think this Falstad is getting a little cheeky in this bottom lane, trying to push this advantage versus Morales. Has to really watch out, because as soon as Zagara comes down, she's going to be able to put some pain on him.
Indeed. It looks like Bark does have the advantage here as far as the placement of that tribute. They do just reach 10 as well. They are going to be arriving shortly, but it looks like both Jaina and Diablo have stopped to take that camp. In the meantime, Chen has started on the... Oh, wow. So quickly Artemis Howl goes down, does not even have a chance to put up his R. Equinox flanking from behind. The huge Sunder into the ring. Great counter Maw. Jaina does go down. They are going to be able to pick up a kill themselves. Right now it has turned into a 3-on-3. All of the attack going on to Flame. Equinox doing everything he can to chase him down. He is going to go down regardless there. And suddenly we have a 2-on-2 at the tribute.
This is going to be a very close one, as it is Diablo and Thrall. But Thrall doesn't want to wait for the Diablo to come back. He's just going in on John and saying, you know what, I'm not afraid of you. But Chen is going to have a bunch of time. Diablo's going to come up here and try and chase Asus Rhaegar, but they get the tribute. They secure, and Chen is probably going to be able to live just fine here as Morales comes up to secure his life. Whew.
Indeed. And there for a second, I thought Thrall might go down while he was trying to get close enough to get that poke in. Unfortunately, he was not able to. Chen coming in again, showing what he knows with that Taekwondo. That is some sick form from the Chen player. And it looks like Balrog is coming in. He's going to provide heals while they siege onto this heap. And they do throw the stim pack onto Zagara. She is going to go hard onto Sanch, who is getting body blocked severely by that Chen. And with one more flying kick, she finds herself with a quick trip back to the next.
Can't say that you usually see stim used on Zagara, but you know what? If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. And that's what they did, and it certainly worked. As Zagara was just kind of just with two hands, or I guess like 6 legs or whatever, just tossing spine after spine after spine at the Jaina's face.
I like what they did there by taking out that top fort and then immediately moving to the boss. They only had about 7 seconds left. That's not enough time to make any rotation worth noting, and instead they do go to make sure they take out that boss. Thrall is coming around here. He does have Sunder. Is he going to try and steal this? He's biding his time. It is going to come out, I guarantee you. Sure enough, it does. This is going to be a huge fight. Here comes the Apocalypse. The Maw does allow them to secure the boss, and Equinox comes out into a huge amount of damage. So many people falling here. It does look like Bark is going to get 2 men down. Incidentally, this is another 3-on-3. Dark X Mark taking a lot of damage, as is Sank. That is going to be a 4-man wipe versus the 3 for BlizzPro. McMuffin is limping away here. He barrel rolls. Is it going to be enough? Oh, he does manage to get into the bush, but no, Zex is going to be able to get the flying kick here, and that is going to secure yet another kill.
Yeah, Zex just basically took his ticket to Juke City, ripped it up, and stomped on it on the ground. Was not letting him get out there. All the while, this boss has been pushing top, like you said, by taking that fort. They allowed it to get a lot of good shots onto the keep towers here. I don't believe it's going to get any damage on the keep, but it is going to take down at least 1 tower, maybe 2, probably 2, with one last slam there. Does look like that might be the case. Is it gonna? No, they're actually going to save that tower. Though those minions might finish it off. Nope, it's going to live.
Wow, really impressed with the play here from BlizzPro, making sure that they are going to be able to keep the lanes pushed here. They do grab their knights at the same time that the boss is cleared. We do have the giants that are going to be pushing and defending that top lane. In the mid, it looks like BlizzPro is considering a siege, but they do want to wait until 16, and they are smartly just looking for some easy picks.
Yeah, Chen's going to go down and clean up this wave at the bottom, though. He is going to be separated from the rest of their team, and if they are smart enough to pick up on this, it's going to allow them to collapse here, which is exactly what they do.
Equinox throws out his Sunder. We are going to see a 2-man Maw. Incidentally, it does look like we are going to have a very quick kill onto that Zagara. In the meantime, everyone else is going to be able to limp away here. Zextra's doing everything he can to get Sanch. Great healing from Diablo. Here comes the Gust to make sure no more kills are secured. It does look like Jaina's going to have to pop her block here. Is she going to die as soon as she comes out? No, a great heal from Rhaegar makes sure that she does stay up. This is a heavy engagement, and it looks like they're going to continue to push here. Ultimates being used across the board on both teams. Only Stim Pack remaining active.
I do believe that that is going to be enough by BlizzPro to get them this tribute, though. Equinox is chasing He is like, you all are small potatoes to me. He wants to go in. Unfortunately, those small potatoes are about to serve him his lunch as he goes down there and is sent back to the Nexus. We now have an advantage in the for BlizzPro. Looks like they might try and push that a little bit in mid, or they can just back off here. Joanna is going to clean up that top, so it is going to be a 4-on-4 in mid, which means they probably are going to play safe, I'd imagine.
Indeed. Digitally does roll up top to go ahead and stop the Giants, who were getting some free push onto that top fort. It looks like BlizzPro is checking to see if boss is being taken. They're oh so close to Bark, who is getting that night camp that they can probably smell them. Falstad taking a lot of damage here. He's already barrel rolled. That is going to be a quick kill for him. And Artemis starts the boss, smartly decides that he should pull back.
Yeah, I don't think that going for this. I don't think going for this boss is great for BlizzPro either. But they are just saying, hey, you know what? You don't have the courage to take this. We have the courage. We have Chen. He's just pure courage from all that alcohol.
The 16 damage, or the 16 talents do come out. Here comes Thrall yet again with the huge Sunder. Pushes Zagara into the stun of the boss. Zagara does go down. In fact, that's 2 people down, 3 people for BlizzPro. The great Sunder from Equinox, making sure the boss acts as their 6th man, and that is a great comeback mechanic here for Bark as they catch up all the way 1 talent tier away, half a level. Artemis Howl taking a lot of damage here from Zextris, who is choosing to try and finish it off. Here comes the big stun from Diablo. Apocalypse used just to save him. Zextris is going to be able to karate kick away if he so chooses. Meanwhile, they do drop the boss to defend and make sure Rhaegar is able to survive. They are going to start the boss regardless because they do still have a big numbers advantage here, so that's going to be an objective and the boss for Bark.
I don't think that Zex's play on Chen there can be just undervalued. I think what he did was beautiful. He pulled 5 members off that boss. They could have continued getting that boss, which would have certainly gotten them more than just this fort. Now, I honestly think if BlizzPro reacts fast enough, they might be able to save this fort. And if not, they're just going to lose the fort. Where I think if that boss had a little bit more of a lead there, had Shen not played that delay game, this would have been an entirely different scenario. You would have been looking at a boss that would have been threatening to push a keep.
Speaking of bosses, the top boss came up just as I finished this sentence. Down at the bottom, the other boss is still at 50% health. Are they going to go up and try and stop them from taking that top boss? It looks like Bark is comfortable letting them have that tribute in exchange for the boss, and I do think that's a great trade for them. They are going to be able to pick up this boss uncontested for sure. Chen realizing that no one is there, I hope that he's calling out to his team that they're going to be defending a boss here shortly. But up top, you can see the boss is secured. That is going to be a top fort as well. Great rotations here from Bark to capitalize on the mistakes of BlizzPro from that last team fight.
Are they going to sniff them out on this camp? It's going to be too late even if they did. It does look like they were going in that direction. Now they're going to have to play a big defense up top. They're going to have a lot of minions pushing this. They absolutely have to play this smart or this could completely turn the game around against them. Let's see how this plays out, Jojo.
Indeed, and if you'll look at the counters on the heroics, both teams have every single heroic available. Very interesting to see who's going to be the first to start throwing the fireworks. Zextris is outside here. Meanwhile, the tribute has spawned. Here comes the stem drone onto Zagara simply to get that boss down quickly. Zextris jumps out onto Jaina and almost gets her down, but a quick gust from Falstad ensures that she's going to make it away safely. Meanwhile, the tribute has spawned. If BlizzPro picks this up, that's a curse. You can see that Bark has set up for zoning here to make sure that they cannot get to Falstad. He does manage to pick up that objective, and now we're going to have another fight here on even talent tiers.
And it does look like a bunch of ults are going to go off all at once as Apocalypse catches a bunch of members of BlizzPro and allows them to take down that Zagara. Joanna is low, Medic is caught and is going to go down as well. Kel'Thas getting bodied by Equinox on Thrall. Does look like Chen is just 100% in escape mode. Bark is just going to handily take this fight. Of course, they have taken the tribute too. This puts BlizzPro in a really bad position, though Chen is going to get caught and taken down.
With 40 seconds to go, with 40 seconds being the average here on the death timers, they can take this keep. If they're really gutsy, they may even go for core, especially because they just got their 20 talents, and it looks like that is exactly what Equinox is set out to do.
This could be the game right here, Joseph. In fact, I think it is going to be the game. That one bad play by BlizzPro leading to this. The BM gust there into an empty Nexus. That is GG. Good game to end the night here. Fantastic stuff going on. Just, it looked like BlizzPro were walking away with that game, and then all of a sudden, Bark were like, we don't want to let you win this, and just took those last two fights. And man.
There were some very good fights that game. Again, neither one of these teams coming out and just completely dominating the other. We saw team fights that went both ways this game. And in fact, yet again, a game where you can trace back the entirety of the outcome onto one mistake. And that is that BlizzPro decided to try and take the boss while they could not account for... was it BlizzPro that tried to take the boss?
BlizzPro tried to take the boss early on and then got completely bodied off the boss.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about. BlizzPro
Yeah.
tried to take that bottom boss. The Sunder from Thrall confirming several kills there, not only by making the boss slam onto Zagara and secure that kill, but also stunning and setting up for the huge play from Jaina, getting multiple people in that ring. Very impressive play there from Equinox. That was the beginning of the end for them, honestly. That was a slide from which they could not recover. Bark doing a very excellent job of capitalizing on the only mistake that BlizzPro made that was glaring enough for them to really take full advantage of.
Agreed. They went for that boss there, and they call it a throw pit for a reason, Joshua. And one of the things about bosses, I feel like if you don't have the really strong advantage, if you can't guarantee a boss and it's not a situation where it's do or die, it's a waste. Yeah, you can get it for a big push, but when you're ahead and you're only a little bit ahead and you're kind of in the position where there's many other options that you can take to get ahead in much safer ways, I don't think that the boss is ever the answer. And I was really surprised that they actually went for the boss there. I thought they were going to just prevent Bark from taking it, back off, take some of their own merc camps, and then set up for the next tribute. That would have been the safest play. I think that would have been the smartest play, as they were completely even at that point.
Yeah.
But they decided just for the greed. And there were some fantastic there's some fantastic calls on the part of Bark too. And I have to wonder if it's they have a little bit of that pro blood running through their veins.
I mean,
and maybe some of those calls kind of rubbed off there.
I think that they could have even got away with getting that bottom boss had Thrall not had Sundering up. Sundering really is a playmaker, and the ability to dictate a fight is so strong and not to be undervalued. And I gotta say, Sundering has to be one of the best, if not the best, engaged in the game. It completely threw them off. It split the team. It put Zagara completely on the back foot. She was actually one-on-oneing the boss at that point. Jaina was able to capitalize and throw the ring down as well. That wombo was the beginning of the end for BlizzPro. Really close game up until that point. The fights were going back and forth, both teams taking full advantage of any give the other team was willing to give them. But in the end, Bark took the most advantage from the mistake and was able to push and win that core there. The boss is really the difference makers in this game, both the engagements on them and the pushes from them.
I'm actually reading chat right now, and we are on a 2-minute jump ahead here on the delay. And it's one of the things that I love about Cheer League is that we just saw this game, and it was such a close game. But there's no hard feelings. There's no bad manners. There's no people jumping down each other's throats. There's no accusations of foul play going on. It's just a solid game, and people are sitting there just talking about how much fun that they had, going back and forth, talking about the other plays that each team's made. Folks, if you don't have a team in Cheer League yet, you need to get one. You need to bring your friends here.